Hey guys, Marrow here. So today I'll be talking to you about something that a lot of people have been asking me, and that's my UI setup. So it's nothing really impressive, but I mean, I've just had a lot of requests for it. So everything is based off of ElvUI. The bar layout, my health, the mob that I'm targeting, and all that kind of stuff. That's all ElvUI. Now, what's going to be different is, you can see right now that I'm mousing over, that's item rack. Item rack is super powerful. It allows you to set up specific sets of sets. So for instance, a frost resist set, roll buff DPS set, non-roll buff DPS set, so on and so forth. And you can change it all with just a click of a button. Another thing I really like about item rack is setting up these buttons underneath my HP. They allow me to switch specific pieces of gear really fast on the fly, and that's something I just love because I'm often using like one gear setup for trash and one for bosses. So for instance, for bosses I might want to use Lionheart and Ghostskin Tunic, but for trash I might want to have the Endless Rage and 2.5 chests, for instance. It also allows you to just swap out trinkets and buying trinkets, which I think is extremely important. Like on trash, you're constantly, if you want to maximize your trash damage, you want to constantly swap out your trinkets so that you can always have an active going in, right? And you can even queue trinkets like that. So when you exit combat, it's gonna instantly swapped out by the trinket that you want, which I think is extremely powerful as well. The next thing I want to touch on is just my, I guess, rotation tracker. It's just really simple. Death Wish, Whirlwind, Bloodthirst, and Execute. Now you see that I have things grayed out if I can't use them. So for instance, right now I'm in Battle Stance, and my Whirlwind is grayed out, even though I have Rage. But once I switch to Berserker Stance, then you see that the Whirlwind is gonna light up. Because it means that I can actually use it, just like that. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. I also have it set up to where if I have over 2k attack power, then my Bloodthirst is going to glow. And I also have these like small cooldowns below my fret bar, just because they're like not super essential most of the times, but it's like you definitely need to keep an eye on them as well. So Berserker Rage, Blood Rage, Taunt, and things like that. It's good. It's nice to keep track. You'll also notice that I have this kind of like timer, for all of my cooldowns: Mighty Rage Potion, Trinkets, Recklessness, all that kind of stuff. Whenever I pop those, it just goes in there. And to me, that's really important, so I can time all of my cooldowns properly. So for instance, I know that if I only have 15 seconds left on Death Wish, that's when I should wreck. And it makes it really easy to just look at one place as opposed to going and looking up on the top right to see if I have the buff and how much longer I have on it and that kind of stuff. And you saw just this Kiss of the Spider icon popping up. That's an add-on called Doom Cooldown Pulse. It's really, really strong, really, really powerful. You can set it up in a bunch of different ways. You can control how long the icon stays on your screen, the opacity, the size, so on and so forth. And it gives you a really nice audio cue as well. So I really like that. It's just as a reminder that, hey, this item is off cooldown and you can use it again. Since it's just like a quick flash, it's almost like subconsciously allows me to remember that, okay, this item is off cooldown and I can use it now. So I like that a lot as well. So those are basically the add-ons that I use. I have a bunch of like random WeakAuras. One of the ones that I really like is this parry one. It just, whenever I get parried, it shows the text, because I'm an absolute dumbass and I get parried a lot. And I think that's an important one because I don't usually catch the parry ones that are on the scrolling combat text, so that really helps me. Helps me not kill my tank as well, which is always nice. Another one of the ones that I really, really like is the Sunder Tracker. So this basically just shows you kind of like a bar chart on the side of the warrior's name and how many Sunders he has for that period of time that you've been in the group with them. It's really, really good if you have slackers in your raid. So it gives you kind of like a way to really like hold them accountable. You know, you can be like, hey, XYZ, like step up, you know, or like just message them and be like, hey, can you sunder more, please? Or you can just say, hey, Y person, you're doing a good job, thanks. So I really like the sunder tracker as well. Makes my life a lot easier during raids. Another one that I really, really enjoy is the time to kill WeakAuras. So basically, this displays a very rough calculation of how long the boss is expected to live, based on your damage output of your raid. So I find that to be really, really useful because I run a lot of pugs. And so we don't have obviously like a structured raid, and it's very difficult to just gauge off the gauge the cooldown usage just off of the boss health percentage. So this is really helpful if that's something that you go through as well, or if you have like multiple raids or an inconsistent roster, or if something is going wrong in your raid, you know, and like you're not gonna get the boss percentage, the fight the way it always goes, basically. So I really like that one as well. So now, when I'm in my actual raid, I love this WeakAuras by Agamemnon. It's his HUD management one, and it allows you to basically set specific boss, health percentages and reminders for when you should pop things. So in Ubracon, you can just pop everything on pull, but like things like Heigen, for instance, where I know that I need to pop, I know that 30 seconds before the boss dies, I can, that's usually, around that percentage of HP. So I just put in that percentage, and then when the boss reaches that percentage, it just reminds me, and I can, get a really good use out of my cooldowns. So extremely helpful cooldown, extremely helpful WeakAuras. It has actually, definitely had an impact on my gameplay personally, and I love it. I just absolutely love this cooldown. If you guys want to see a video on how I use it and how I actually calculate my boss timings, leave a comment down below and I'll for sure get to it. Now, another one that I really like, it's also by Agamemnon, and it basically shows you kind of like a countdown of how long you have on your Mongoose or Juju Power and so on and so forth. And also if you have things like Salve and Defensive Stance, it just basically gives you like a visual indication, and it makes it really easy to not mess up by, going in as a tank with salve on and things like that. The other one that I have is a fret bar. So this is really good as kind of like an indicator for my fret, but I also do use details. However, I only pay attention to details if I'm around 80% fret or so, because that's when I'm like in the weeds and really at risk of pulling. Before that, like just this bar gives me a really easy visual indicator for how I'm doing on fret. So I like it quite a bit. And another one that I really like is this Edge Masters indicator. If you're a meme race, you've definitely gone into a fight without Edge Masters equipped, and that's a huge DPS loss. So that keeps me honest, and helps me with just my Edge Masters equipping. Again, this is a one from Cuddle Party that I modified and gives me all my buffs, and I'll link it in the description below. Now, this one is just the add-on. This is Addie Bags, and I could not live without this add-on. It makes it really, really easy to create custom filters. So for instance, you can see I have like a little BS buff, and all of the BS buff items are clustered in that specific section. Makes it really easy to do that for frost resistance, fire resistance, and diamond flash set, and everything you can possibly imagine. Makes it a breeze to get items out of the bank as well. You can just go and click on the frost resist tab on your bank, and it's going to pull all of those items into your bag, or vice versa when you want to deposit them as well. So really, really like Addie Bags. Highly, highly recommended, and one of my favorite add-ons, and I think all of WoW, honestly. Just makes it so tidy and so nice. No more fiddling around with your bags. Everything gets automatically put in its respective sections, and it's just a joy to use. And the last one is Buff Cap Tracker. Now, if you've had full world buffs, you know that your number one fear is to get those pushed off by a hot or buy a dumb buff from like a mage or a priest or something like that. And buff cap cover basically makes it so that that's a lot more difficult to happen. You can set up specific blacklists, and when you set those up, basically it will attempt to remove all of the blacklisted buffs when you bind the macro onto one of your abilities. So, like for instance, I have Abolish Disease here, and it's blacklisted. So that means that whenever I'm pressing something, I usually bind it to a Heroic Strike. So when I'm using my Heroic Strike, it's attempting to remove any instances of those blacklisted debuffs that are on me when I'm in combat. And you can also set it to auto-remove buffs when you're out of combat, which is awesome. And the last one is the classic character stats. That's the one that shows me my crit and hit on my my character frame. But besides that, there's not much. It's a pretty simple UI. I do hide my bars as well. I don't really need to know that what my keybinds are since I've used them for so long. And I think it looks a lot cleaner, and that's why I prefer going that way. But that's basically it, guys. I hope you liked the video. Let me know if you have any thoughts, comments, or feedback. And if you have video suggestions as well, all ears. Thank you, and I'll catch you next time.